in the middle of his reign of terror. The odd thing is reading the trial transcripts, which have been difficult to get hold of in this country, again, because of the secrecy. But reading those trial transcripts, it wasn't the defense team that was essentially trying to make life easy for him in the trial. It was the prosecution.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the more bizarre episodes in British prosecution history. On top of that, and which I think this may speak to why this is still such a sensitive and secretive topic for much of this country's judicial and law enforcement. 3 of the cases, the unsolved cases that we've investigated, and we say are almost certainly Sutcliffe's handiwork. 3 entirely innocent men went to prison for those cases, for those killings, and spent 20-something years rotting in cells before.
After my heart attack, cash from ActiveCare meant I had choices.
When I had cancer, cash from ActiveCare meant I didn't need to stress so much about money.
What is ActiveCare? ActiveCare is a supplemental health insurance policy that offers protection for covered cancer, heart attack, or stroke, and a choice of cash benefit options from $10,000 to $60,000. If you're diagnosed with cancer, a heart attack, or stroke, you could end up paying thousands of dollars or more in out-of-pocket medical bills. ActiveCare gives you protection at an affordable price. So, get ActiveCare for cash, choice, and control. ActiveCare is brought to you by Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company and is underwritten by Washington National Insurance Company. Visit colonialpenn.com for more information. This is a limited benefit policy. This policy has limitations and exclusions. For costs and complete details of coverage, visit colonialpenn.com.
The days are getting shorter, and you can feel it in the air. Yes, it's that time of year. Pumpkin is finally back at Dunkin'. It's the cozy you've been craving all summer long, now in your cup at Dunkin'. Pick up all of your pumpkin favorites, like the signature pumpkin spice iced latte, or a pumpkin iced coffee, and bakery items like pumpkin donuts and muffins. Sip into something comfortable to celebrate the start of cozy season. Use the Dunkin' app for contactless ordering. America runs on Dunkin'.
Courts ruled that they were innocent.
Really?
Now, yeah, and there's no those men were paid compensation. They're not, frankly, nothing could compensate for losing 20 to 25 years of your life. I think that is also feeding into the reluctance of the establishment, if you want to call it that, in this country, to address this.
But they had enough evidence to get convictions, or were they? I guess they weren't guilty pleas, right? They got convictions against these other 3 men.
Yeah, and they browbeat these three men. These were 3 young men. 3 entirely different cases in different parts of the country. In each case, the police browbeat these young men who had severe learning difficulties, and they browbeat them over a number of days into signing bogus confessions, which, as soon as they could, they repudiated. And the courts eventually found that these young men, or by the time they found they weren't young anymore, these men had not done these crimes at all.
Fascinating. So here you got the cops basically railroading these 3 guys for a crime they didn't commit, while yet they have the guy in custody right now. They're giving him a cushy ride for crimes that he's convicted of, and yet won't even pin the crimes that he's suspected of on him.
Yeah, it is bizarre, isn't it?
Oh, that's a pattern.
And the transfer of this guy, this man Sutcliffe, to a psychiatric hospital there's never been any public discussion of that. There's never been any due process for that. It's done in the people's name, in our name, and we have to foot the bill for it. It costs 10 times as much to keep him there per year as it does to keep him in a prison. And yet all of this has been done in secret.
Yeah, Frank Bruno was the boxing champ.
Yeah, well, that much I didn't know, so thank you for that. I've got a new piece of information today.
Well, you got to check this out, because there's a picture on Google Images of Frank Bruno being introduced to Sutcliffe, and Jimmy Savile is standing between them with his arms folded, with that arrogant way he has. Sort of like, look what I'm doing here, guys,
Yeah, he was a strange, dangerous, and manipulative man, Jimmy Savile. And as I say, how...
Wherever you go, Direct Auto Insurance will be there for you. Whether it's early morning on your way to work or at night after a long day on the other side of town with a few errands still left to do, wherever you are, we've got you covered. To find out how you could save up to 25% and take advantage of flexible payment options, call or stop by any of our 450 Direct Auto stores for a free quote, or visit us at directauto.com. Rates, savings vary. Terms and conditions apply to coverage, discounts, and pay plans. How you buy could impact price. Direct Auto Insurance and insurers in the National General Group, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Moving means welcome to the Frontier Fiber neighborhood. With our high-speed Frontier 500 meg fiber optic internet, share video tours of your new place with upload speeds up to 25 times faster than cable. Just $39.99 a month plus taxes and fees, and only $10 per month Wi-Fi router service fee. Visit frontier.com/fiber for upload speed comparison and full offer details. Frontier, don't go it alone. Limited time offer. Max speeds or wired speeds. Wi-Fi speeds may vary. Activation, internet infrastructure surcharges, taxes, and other fees are subject to change. Frontier terms and conditions apply.
Someone like him could have been given such unrestricted access to what is meant to be one of the most secure prison psychiatric facilities in the country, is just bizarre and has yet to be answered.
Now, is that the only psychiatric institution he had access to?
No, I think he had access to several you're talking about, other institutions, though none as high security. None. Broadmoor is pretty much the pinnacle of the prison psychiatric service in this country. He had access to hospitals and other places, and he was an arch manipulator.
Yeah, I've done a couple of shows on Savile. I just had his great niece on the show who describes how when he visited her home when she was 12 years old, she was placed on his lap, and he molested her in front of the whole family. Yeah.
I mean, I am aware that a lot of those cases and those are being litigated at the moment, and our legal systems over here is a little more strict and severe than yours over there, and I have to be careful that I don't say anything which could affect the progress of that litigation.
Oh, okay. But now, in general, with the Savile investigation over there, has it pretty much died out, or is there still an uproar?
No, there is still investigations, official investigations going on, not just into Savile, but into the people who had links to Savile, and indeed the institutions that Savile manipulated and abused the trust of are still carrying out their own internal investigations as well.
Yeah, but have any charges been brought about, or any sanctions, or any firings?
No.
Nothing, right? Yeah.
No.
No. Go ahead.
There's one of the organizations is the BBC. Everyone knows the BBC. Savile, it is alleged, abused his position within the BBC to molest women whilst on BBC premises. Now, there is an ongoing, and has been for some time, BBC investigation. It will be interesting to see what results from that.
Well, do you have any hope that something's going to come out of that?
It's very hard to tell. I mean, a lot of this happened a long time ago.
Right.
And the BBC now is a very different organization to the BBC then, and a lot of the people who were there then and who presumably should be asked about it are not employed by the BBC now. That said, and it's it's a cheap jibe, but there's an element of truth in it. There's an old saying here about the BBC whenever it gets itself into trouble. It's not that heads will roll, but deputy heads will roll.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're just a couple of figureheads, right? The fall guys, they call them here. Fall guys.
Yeah. Whether that happens, the internal investigation inside the BBC goes on. It goes on quietly and privately, and for all I know, they're doing a fantastic job, and I shall be fascinated to see what emerges.
Oh, okay, let's sit here with bated breath and wait for the outcome of these.
They possibly don't hold your breath because it could be quite some time.
Yeah. Now, what about? Are you familiar with the Jeffrey Epstein conviction here in the United States and his connection to Prince Andrew?
I have seen the newspaper reports, nothing more.
Okay. So now, and how are the reports going now? Is it pretty much died down, or is there still news reports about
the last I saw was when one of the main claim was kicked out by a judge. That was what was reported here.
Right. That's the last thing you guys received as a report of. There was that Virginia Roberts was not allowed to become a co-plaintiff.
Well, that's the last I've seen. Now,
yeah.
Bear in mind, I haven't been following this.
No, pretty much it's been covered up over there since that ruling. But since then, the plaintiffs in this case have won the victory. And all of this information has to come out. All the plea negotiations and all the sealed information and discovery is all being released right now. In fact, a ton of it was just released about 3 or 4 days ago.
Well, as I say, I have no knowledge of the case at all. As a general rule, my view is that releasing information and the sunshine, as they always say, has a cleansing effect. And whatever the case, by and large, I think the public has a right to hear the information.
I absolutely agree with you as far as that goes. Now, in your career, am I correct to assume that one of the threads of your career has been investigating, again, victimization of children and women, and also satanic ritual abuse? Yeah,
that's been satanic ritual abuse is always a difficult subject. I mean, I liken it to the third rail of anything to do with child protection, because professionally you touch it and you die. It's such a difficult topic that it's caused me no little difficulty in my career.
Can you elaborate?
Sure. I wrote a book about ritual abuse and satanic ritual abuse, and I was sued by a policeman who was identified in one of the cases which I examined in some detail in the book. And he objected to, this is a book of 100,000 words, he objected to an inference which he said some readers might draw from 4 paragraphs. Now, I had intended no such inference, and if I'm honest, I don't believe any such inference would reasonably have been drawn, but it's very difficult to defend that, and my publishers at that point, for various reasons, decided they couldn't carry on with the fight, and they settled out of court with him, and we made a public apology to him, and he was paid a large sum of money.
That seems to be a pattern with the other side of the ritual abuse topic.
Well, I mean, I do want to stress this policeman was not a bad man.
Right.
This was not, and I did not, certainly never intended to imply any slur on him. I don't think the investigation which he ran was very well done, but that happens. It is just a phenomenally difficult problem. It cropped up again here. I mean, there have been a couple of cases ongoing here, which I haven't followed, but it cropped up again in the context of a BBC 2-part radio program presented by quite a well-respected columnist, newspaper columnist. and who proceeded to